Good afternoon. Jim Roman here, going live on Facebook. This is a last minute idea that I wanted to do. One of my colleagues is doing it on another channel and it inspired me to do this one. I don't know if you'll see this live or recorded, but regardless, I hope you see this. This recording is what I would call my wins for the week, or encouraging words for the day. This week has been a great week, a lot of things to share with you, and I thought I would do one video this morning, do another video this weekend, and then maybe another one on Monday. And I thought, no, I'm just gonna turn on the camera and just shoot it. So if you're joining me now or you join me after this is recorded, welcome. I'm Jim Roman, national speaker and business coach. I specialize in helping people build better businesses to build better lives. And I want to share with you some of the things that I learned this week and people I ran into. No particular order. I have notes and ideas that I'll be sharing from, so bear with me as I do this. And then as people come on board, I will welcome them to this live stream. So I'm super excited. So this week I sat in on a Christian Chamber of Commerce Power Hour session where speaker Crystal Parker, a leadership coach, shared with us her perspective on being ready for getting to be reopening in our markets. And what she said is, when it times to come to reopen, will your business be ready? And she asked us, are we ready to reopen? Now, for some of us, our state is not opening soon. Some of our states are opening this weekend. Regardless of where you are, I love what she had to say, and I have a couple of talking points. If you want her worksheet, feel free to put comments below, and I will send it to you. So one of the things that she mentioned is your facility ready to be open or reopen? In other words, when your employees or your team members come back to your place of business, or if you have a restaurant or a law firm, is it clean? Is it safe and sanitized for people to come back? And that's an obvious question, but it got me to thinking, if we go back to normal and say just run into the office and it hasn't been cleaned or sanitized, that could be some concern for some of your employees. And so that's just a simple thought that she talked about, and as well as several other things. She also talked about, which I thought was interesting, reevaluating your policies and procedures. Now, what does she mean by that? We talked about this on the call quite a bit. You might have a policy where you can work from home, or you can get medical leave and things like that. Now, what if some of your employees are not ready to come to work because they're still a little scared about the COVID situation? Or one of the participants in the call said that, what if they still have their kids at home and they're still babysitting their kids or taking care of their kids? They can't go back to work. What's going to be your policy that if half your team can go back and the other half can't, or maybe won't in some cases? What do your policies reflect in regards to that? And I got to tell you, I thought that was a very interesting thought perspective, knowing about policy and procedure, working with my clients in the past with HR consultants and helping to rewrite those policies. It was just an aha for me. What else did we talk about? I asked the question, I brought up, again, what if your employees don't want to go back to work? I heard a story of a bakery out west who is opening up, got money from the government, but some of their employees don't want to go back to work because they get paid more in unemployment than they do working at the company. What do you do? And the answer was, remind yourself and remind your people the vision and mission you're about. Sharing and revisiting the people that. So what is your vision and mission for your employees so they were inspired to come back and push through whatever fears that they might have? I won't go into all of them, but what I loved about this, and I shared this with her, is if you're looking to reopen, now or in the future, for some of you in Virginia, that might be June 10th, according to my information, do you have a checklist that you're following so that you make sure everything's covered? So when you do open, whenever that may be, you can open. And again, just some examples we talked about today is policies and procedures for your employees. We talked about revisiting your vision and mission to inspire people to come back and to perform. And then last but not least, there's more of them, is your facility clean, sanitized, so that they don't catch whatever residual might be out there. So what is your checklist, or do you have a checklist for reopening your business now or in the future? So I just had to share that. I thought that was a very, very exciting stuff. I probably could talk more and more on that, but I just wanted to do that. The second thing that comes to mind for the wins for the week, or the encouraging word for the day, was just about an hour ago. I was on another conference call, and there was a leadership coach. His name is Peter, and he talked about leadership. And my notes are around here. So leadership, the 5 levels of leadership he talked about. And those levels of leadership are, number 1, you're leading by your position. You have a title, and that's how you lead. I am the boss, or I am the supervisor, or when I was in the military, I am the sergeant or the captain. And you lead from your position. And that's a leadership style, but do people respect that position perspective of leadership? He went on talking to permission leadership. This is when people come to you for permission to do things. So that means they have to go to you to get going or keep on going. And that has its pros and it has its cons. And then you elevate to the next level is production or results. Now it's results-based leadership. You tell your people you want a particular result, and they produce that result. Then there's the 4th level of leadership he talked about, and this is the one that I want to talk about, is people development. He went on to talk about, in regards to leadership development, there are 5 levels. I won't go through all of them. If you want my notes from this session, I'll forward those to you. But essentially it was level 1, you show them how to do it. You do it to develop them, because they need to see somebody who knows how to do it, do it. Level 2 in their development is that you do it and they watch you do it and walk alongside you. Level 3, I believe it is, they do it and you watch them. Level 4, they do it by themselves without you around. And then level 5 is they do it with somebody else. And the aha I have with that, for those of you who are leaders out there of your organizations, whether you own the company, you're a manager, a supervisor, the aha I have was 2 parts. When we're developing our people, do they know the development plan? Do they know the development map? Do they have a visual representation of what that would look like? This is something I got off the internet from John Maxwell, which is the 5 levels of leadership that I referenced from Peter's presentation. But what I'm saying is, do they know that there's different levels of leadership? And as an employee, you have levels of leadership. One who, is one who's reactive leader versus a proactive leader. You are an employee leader that waits for being told what to do or acts on your own. Or you're an employee or leader who is emotional and unprofessional to being very professional. The thought comes to me is that if we show our people, our team members, the levels of leadership, for them to have a reference point, how powerful would that be? I think it'd be very powerful. I mean, just listening to Peter's 5 levels of leadership really helped me in asking myself, what kind of leader do I want to be? What kind of people do I want to lead? Was that thought. And the last thing I'll say about Peter's presentation came from a conversation I was having with Kay Congdon, a strategic HR person I recommend and refer regularly. Kay and I were talking about a joint client that we're working on. And there is an employee in one of the companies that, we'll just say for conversation's sake, could be a better leader. Their philosophy is, I tell you what to do, I set you on your own, and then I go about my business. And I don't check up on you. I just hope that you'll do what I've asked you to do. That's his style of leadership versus what he doesn't want to be, a micromanager. The flaw in this philosophy, in my opinion, is he's going from not wanting to be a micromanager to setting and forgetting. And setting and forgetting is not always the best thing to be doing. And so there is a happy medium. And so when I was sharing with Kay my perspective, if I were talking to this gentleman, I would ask him, what kind of leader does he want to be? Right? And you can Google the different leadership styles. I think there's 7 different leadership styles out there that I would encourage you to print out and show to your leaders and ask them, what kind of leader are you? And what kind of leader do you want to be? So I went on to tell Kay, I said, if I were you, I would go up to this gentleman and ask him, let's say there's 3 different approaches to leadership. There's A, you set it, forget it, and never look at them, micromanage them, or you develop them. You meet with your team at least once a week as a team and at least once a month individually in monthly mentoring meetings. What kind of leader do you want? Let me repeat that and rephrase that. So if I was talking to one of your leaders and they were not performing at the level that you would like, it might be because they don't know the different leadership levels or the leadership styles. And so I might give them those tools, Google them, comment below. I'll send you my resources, connect you with Peter or Kay or anybody else, or Crystal that I referenced a moment ago. And I would say to this person, okay, so there's the leader who micromanaged them to death. Do you want to be that person? Probably not, I would say. Then there is, you set it and forget them, and then you hope they do their job. That's an option. Or the third kind, which I personally choose to be, and that is monthly mentoring manager or leader, and weekly meetings with the team and developing them, ultimately to help the people be the best people that they can be. That's what I think. Do you think micromanaging will make someone be the best people that he can be? Set them and forget them? Or check in on them every so often? Or have a structure, have a plan, have a philosophy of developing the best in people? And I would hope that this person would say, that's an interesting perspective. Do I want to be a micromanager, a set it, forget it, or a developer type of leader? So I just wanted to share that from Peter's perspective of the 5 leadership, us as leaders of our organizations or companies or the people, is do they have tools to reference? If you've been in business long enough, you've probably been to enough seminars, webinars, and conferences that you know this stuff. And you probably have plenty of books like I do on my shelves that I have read, I've heard about, that I can use from a reference point. But do your team members have those same reference points? And so I am just going to highly recommend that you print out whatever you can to give them the acumen, the perspective, and the research to choose from so they can better themselves, so they have a frame of reference. So that was the second thing that I had or win for the week for me that I've learned from just the wonderful people around me, from Crystal to Kay to Peter. The last thing that I want to talk about, I call appreciation marketing. Now, I didn't coin that word. I actually have a book around here on that subject matter. But I just got a gift from a good friend of mine, Jeff Singletary from Keller Williams Heritage Realty. Jeff is a president of a BNI referral group here in Orlando, Florida. And when I moved here a year ago, I didn't know anybody, so I joined the Maitland Chamber of Commerce and I joined BNI because I wanted to get involved in the community, get to know people. And Jeff has been an amazing person. He has welcomed me with open arms. He's invited me to social events so that I feel a part of his community. And I just moved into a new house. He heard about that. And then he sent me this plant. But the plant was really about encouraging me during these difficult times. I think the card said, "This too shall pass. Thanks for being who you are, Jim." Jeff Singletary. Now, I don't know about you, but I could argue that I don't have enough time, enough money to be sending appreciation gifts out to people. But what I loved about what Jeff did, knowing Jeff being the professional that he is, and the caring person that he is, that he makes time for these types of things. He goes out of his way to do these types of things. He probably has plenty of other things to do, but I believe that he gets that appreciation marketing, appreciating people in general, makes the biggest difference in life and in business. And so I would encourage you today, tomorrow, or in the next week or so to reach out to somebody to either do what I call a caring call to let them know you're thinking about them. I just recently called somebody I know in Seattle, Washington, a gentleman who owns 3 companies. One happens to be a property management company. And I just want to check in on them. You know, with everything going on, you know, I don't know what it's like in Seattle, but I was just thinking about it. And so I just called them and said, "Hey, just calling you, seeing how you're doing. Give me a call back. Would love to hear from you." That led to calling another client in Richmond, Virginia. I realized I haven't talked to her in a while. She's actually a former client, and I just missed talking to her. So I called her up and said, "Hey, what you doing? Miss talking to you." And I've actually just texted me while we're on this call, this Zoom video. Or if you're not going to make a caring call to somebody that you care about, or you miss talking to, or you're prompted to call because your heart or soul says, "You know, I should call so-and-so," do that so-and-so, call that so-and-so before it's too late. or you never know when you can make a difference in your life. Or send out a thank you card. I have some thank you cards, which are thanks a million. If you know one of our signature products I love and I'm most passionate about, it's called Micro to Millions, which helps people get a life beyond the business while building a successful business. I happen to find these cards in the airport in my travels. And so I have these sitting right here next to me to thank somebody for the million little things they do for the people in the world and they've done for me. And so I encourage you to reach out to people and appreciate them, however you do it. Like Jeff did with the plant, with me, with my cards, or even with this video. I just felt compelled to share this, and I wanted it to be perfect and the right timing, and I wanted to make sure I had the right episode. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to turn the camera on, hit record, and I'm just going to share because I care. It's tough times now. It's tough in business in general. And I think if we can come together and just apply these principles, whether it's getting ready to open and making sure you're ready to open to make sure your people are safe, your clients and customers who come in the doors will be safe and feel safe, whether it's your leadership style or your leadership development or your leaders within your organizations, or just appreciating the people in your life. I think those will help you have wins for the week and most likely wins for life. I just want to say thank you for listening to this video. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. Please comment below some of the thoughts and ideas that you may have. And as always, reach out to me at jimromanonline.com is my website. You can also send me questions or concerns or challenges you'd like for us to cover in future videos like this at questions@askjimroman.com. Again, I love you. I appreciate you. Again, I'm Jim Roman. The more you know, the more you grow. Until next time, have a great weekend.